episode 3. You terrible.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Right.
Come on.
Welcome back to the Friction Podcast.
Hey.
Episode 3.
Yes.
Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Big shout out to Just Another Media Company.
Hey.
The cameraman, Kadeem. The co-producer, Kadeem. I am your host, Mr. Derron Flood, and your producer. To my right is my lovely co-host, Zyah.
Actually, to your right would have been our missing co-host, Will, kind of like your phone bill.
Kind of like your phone bill.
But yes, I'm Zyah like Fire, your resident wild child, here to make sure that you guys all stay on your toes.
Yo, did you just come up with that? Because that was dope.
I did.
Okay, look at you being all witty. So, you know what time it is. What rubbed you the right way or the wrong way? Happy Juneteenth.
Yes.
I'm tripping. You know, shout out to the ancestors. Shout out to the moms, the dads, the whole Black collective. You know, I got my African Strength shirt on, so, you know, that's dopeness. So what rubbed me the right way or the wrong way? Juneteenth rubbed me the right way. I'm big on awareness. I'm big on acknowledging Blackness. And Juneteenth is a celebration of all those things. So I'm really happy about that. We're moving in the right direction. So that rubs me the right way. What about you?
So I recently, a few weeks ago, I got into an accident, and this actually rubbed me the right way. The company the auto repair shop that is fixing my car.
Are we paid?
Say again?
Are we paid?
No, I'm not going to say their name. I'm just going to say customer service.
Did we get some good money out of that?
Oh, no, I was at fault. I mean, yeah.
Of course.
Whatever. I was at fault. I mean, inadvertently, I was at fault, but I was at fault either way. But yeah, so when they first got my vehicle, they said, you know, we'll check in with you twice a week to give you updates. And they honestly have. Like, I wasn't expecting to hear from them, but they call me twice a week to let me know exactly what's going on. And I think customer service is so important. So, like, shout out to that. I mean, I thought you said we're not getting paid, so I'm not going to, like, say their name, but maybe I will. I don't know.
No, if we're not getting paid.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
Customer service. So that rubbed me the right way. Some good customer service this week.
For sure. So, William,
Oh, he's not here.
William isn't here, so we can't find out what rubbed him the right way or the wrong way. He's out in California working, doing his due diligence for the company, for the country, by the country. So our topic for today, recapping COVID-19, the coronavirus. So as we move out of this whole pandemic, you know, people are walking around maskless. Events are starting to open up. We're coming out of this thing. And so I felt like it was a really good opportunity to just share our experiences with it. And you know, you can guys go in the comments and talk about what you thought about COVID and your experiences. But we have a long list of things that we want to talk about today with you guys. And so we're going to jump right into it. Conspiracy theories. There was a lot of conspiracy theories revolving around the coronavirus when this thing first kicked off. What was it, March or February of last year?
It was like March of last year.
Yeah, they talked about bats. It came from bats, or it came from 5G, or all of these things. But this was actually your idea. So I'm going to go and let you kick off this whole conspiracy theory topic and what you think about it when it came to this whole pandemic.
So I didn't actually study any of the conspiracy theories, to be honest with you. I definitely had a lot of people talking about a lot of different things. So for me, the thing that came up the most was that it was already, like, it was pre-planned. They were already training, like, I guess it was the CDC was already training for this thing, like for this type of what would we do in a pandemic based on a virus. Like there was some, research that said there were documents that actually said, this is what we would do. This is how we would go about doing it. And this was like months before it ever even like came to the surface.
Right.
I definitely Personally, I thought the numbers were inflated as far as like the deaths.
So I have a question. Are you a conspiracy theorist?
Sometimes.
So my next
Sometimes,
question is, do
yeah.
you think that you can be black and not be a conspiracy theorist? Considering stuff like the Tuskegee experiments and what is it?
But is that a conspiracy
Quantello
theory? Like,
no,
is that-
but back in the days, you know, you wouldn't know about these things. And there would just be like discussions saying like, you know, this happened and this happened, or it could be that. But like as a black person, especially knowing your history, my question again is, do you think that you cannot be a conspiracy theorist and black at the same time?
That's a good question. So you're saying like you can't, are you asking me, can you be pro-black and not be?
Not even pro-black, just black in general.
Just black in general and
Right.
not have some conspiracy.
Absolutely.
I think it's hard.
Right.
I think it's hard to be a black person and not see evidence of straight up conspiracy shit that's been put out there for sure.
I mean, again, just pointing back to like the Tuskegee experiments, you know what I mean? Like people, the government came
Giving
into
out blankets with smallpox. Like,
Right.
no, that's
So,
real.
I can see why people would be apprehensive to believe anything like the government has to say, especially because they weren't so friendly to our community.
Right. Okay, so funny story, right? So like this morning, Kareem was looking at some paperwork. He had to go to patient first, so he stayed home a couple days because wasn't feeling all that great, and of course they wanted him to get tested. So he was like, "This is dumb," and I was like, "What do you mean? What is dumb?" He was like, "Basically, if you have symptoms of a cold, then you have symptoms of COVID."
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like the paperwork it seems like it's full of COVID information. And he tested, the rapid was negative and his test results came back negative. But just reading the paperwork, he's like, this is really dumb because it's like, either way, I have the symptoms of COVID.
Right.
Either way.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were a lot. Like the 5G thing, they were saying they were using that to spread it or the rollout of it. Like I was kind of looking at some of them because the only one that I feel like I really was like a little bit like the numbers, just based on the fact that we don't talk a lot. You know what? I take that back. The thing that was the most interesting to me was how the government jumped in. Like when there's so many things that are killing people on a daily basis.
For sure.
And it just seemed like all of a sudden the government was heavily involved in this health awareness. And, you know, this was like a big thing now. So they were heavily involved with it as far as dictating how we were going to move and like solve this problem. When we have so many heavily, you know, like we have so many numbers of people dying, heart disease and, you know, like high blood pressure. Like there's a ton of things out there that we have issues with that are on a like it's like an epidemic type level.
For sure.
So it was just interesting to me how heavily involved the government was in this particular case.
So one of the things that I saw, like, do you remember like the last 3 or 4 summers, how extremely hot it was? March, April, May, like literally record-breaking numbers. March it's 90, April it's 90. You know,
it was weird this year too.
So it was cold. And I think all of that stemmed from people having to quarantine. You know, car admissions and things like that are not in the air, and just people not being outside. And here's me putting on my conspiracy theorist hat. And I mean, this is really just something that I just came up with like instantaneously. Like maybe the government saw that we were heading in the direction where the environment was in dire need of a reset. I mean, because it was really cool. Like this year, noticeably cool. And I know by my gas bill at the gym, because, you know, it gets either really, really hot or really, really cold in the gym. And like, I don't really start paying on my gas bill until May. But because the winter kind of lasted a little longer, I'm like, man, I'm still paying on my really high gas bill. And it's almost...
So you think it was because people weren't out in the streets?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think about it. Think about New York City.
Okay.
And all of the traffic.
Yeah.
Carbon monoxide is super dangerous to the ozone layer. Give the world a whole month to reset. Do you know how much, like, I don't know what the
They
scientific
said a lot
measurement.
They said a lot of the like rivers cleared up, and
you see
like
what I'm saying?
yeah,
I mean,
pollution levels went down in other
Absolutely.
countries. So
I mean, that quarantine stuff is
did you quarantine?
yes, kinda, not really.
What was your
Sure.
quarantine experience like?
So, kinda, no, not really, because I had to work.
Did you close the gym? Is what I'm asking.
Yo, stop. Yeah, I closed the gym for about a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I closed the gym for about a month, and then I noticed that like my property manager told me that I still had to pay rent, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, so that means I have to work. And so what I did was I became a mobile gym. So, I have a lot of equipment that I could just take and just kind of like maneuver around and put in my really small SUV. I took dumbbells, I broke down a rower, I took the battle ropes, barbells and everything. And I was going all around the 757. And it was the worst experience of my life because I did not change my price point. And I was paying a lot of money in gas and wear and tear on my car just to break even a lot of times. But foresight says, and I'm a business person, you have to maintain these relationships.
Are you talking about with your clients?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So just maintaining that relationship really helped my business. So I wasn't quarantined much at all. I know that during COVID, you were on a farm, right?
I was on a farm.
Did you quarantine?
Well, kind of. I mean, I didn't stay on the. Okay, so during the week, I was on the farm.
So can you explain why you went up to it? Like we need to know about you a little bit more.
So rewind. So I mean, before the farm, I was in Florida working with Century 21. So I have a background in real estate. I had my real estate license. Still have it. It's like in referral status. So I don't practice active real estate as a salesperson. But when I did get my real estate license, it was primarily based on me having interest in just investing in real estate. Then I got the sales license and realized like that's a totally different lane. Fast forward, got into more of the training and lead generation. And then fast forward, I was doing that for a Century 21 office down in Florida. I left that office and came back up here for personal family reasons. And then was just feeling like I needed to do a shift. So I am, like I said, the resident wild child, and I did shift gears a little bit, but I've always had an interest in growing my own food. I've always had an interest in sustainable lifestyle, sustainable living. And I also
homesteading, right? That's what it's called.
Homesteading is something similar to creating a sustainable environment. Yes, homesteading is where you grow your own food.
Tell our audience how you like to spend your Sundays at botanical gardens. I
like to spend any day at botanical gardens. Any day that I can go to the botanical gardens, I will go because I love being in the garden. I just love being around nature. But yes, I've always been interested in growing my own food. I've been interested in earthships since the first Garbage Warrior movie came out, probably about 15. Earthship is a home that is built to be designed to be completely sustainable. You have a greenhouse, you have your gray water system, you have the entire facility is built based on recycled materials. So a lot of times they'll dig down into the ground and they'll pack tires with the earth so that you have earth walls, which is good for thermodynamic energy release.
Is that something that you want for yourself?
Yes. So I'm interested in the tiny home movement heavily, but mostly based on the sustainable living aspect of the tiny homes.
Right.
So solar, collecting water, gray water systems, built in greenhouses. So the way the house would be designed is, collecting the energy from the sun during the day. And then, so they're not, shaped like typical homes commonly. But yes, so that's a whole sidebar. I did go to a farm to initiate an apprenticeship. It ended up not being an apprenticeship. It ended up being cheap labor is what she kind of.
So you were on a farm picking cotton?
Yes, I was not picking cotton.
Oh, okay.
But I was on an organic produce farm. And it was an interesting experience to say the least.
So can I ask you, you know what's coming, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me why you stopped on the farm?
So I left the farm because the owner of the farm is a white lady.
Look, she's uncomfortable. I'm
not uncomfortable, but part of the reason why I ended up leaving the farm was because she was
Say it. You're
Okay.
uncomfortable.
Okay, so
but
after
for once, you're
no,
uncomfortable.
I'm not
Okay.
uncomfortable. I just a lot of people. So if you follow me, you know what farm I went to, and what I don't want people to do is go
What?
and attack this lady for this. Whatever.
Like she attacked you?
She didn't attack me, but what it was is, so when the George Floyd situation happened, she's on a board, a farmer's board. Okay, it was a female. So part of the reason why I picked this farm is because it's close to where I live. It was like an in-between place from where my son lives. My youngest son lives in PA. It's halfway point. It's an all-woman farm, like, women owned. I wanted to support, and it's organic produce. Okay, so those were all like winners. The fact that she was a white lady, that's what it was. Anyway, we were in the field, and I guess her board wanted to find out if there was anyone on her farm that was black that wanted to speak. And I was just like, lady, I'm not with it.
I'm not your token.
I'm not your token. No, I'm good. Because she asked me if I'd gotten some email, and I'm like, no, I didn't get it.
And you really got it.
I was like cutting lettuce, and she called me. She almost called me colored, basically. Okay, so yeah.
And you
so,
sure you weren't picking cotton?
Shut up! I wasn't picking cotton.
Okay.
I was.
But a white woman can call you colored.
It wasn't. So she kind of stumbled, right? So she was like, as a woman of color. So it kind of came out like just like that. It was like, and I stopped and I stood up and I was like, what? Did this lady just call me colored? And I'm actually in the field? Like, it threw me for a loop. And there was something going on with my grandmother at the time. I took a break. I told her that I needed to leave to deal with some family stuff. And some things happened while I was gone. There was a young lady there that I was kind of close to. And she was like, yeah, I don't think you should come back. She's just being really kind of disrespectful. And so I just decided not to return because I thought, like, I don't want to support this environment. It's a lot going on with this lady. It wasn't the first time that she had said something to me kind of sideways about, black versus, it was weird. So I decided that it wasn't the best farm for me to continue on. It was really disappointing because the produce was amazing. The experience was okay. But at the end, I realized like she was definitely using us as cheap labor and calling it an apprenticeship. Like I had a different expectation for what an apprenticeship was going to be. Like I thought that I was going to be learning from her in a different way. And really she was just using us for labor. So, but my experience as far as quarantine was great.
So did you learn any skills though while you were there?
I did.
I mean, because that's,
even
though
absolutely.
she was, what I mean?
No, I was there for majority of the season. So I definitely picked up on some things, but it was just one season. So there was like, my intention was to be there for at least 2 seasons, just to be able to see the difference like for a whole season. So it didn't work out.
Can you give me an example of like some of the, can I call them crops? Vegetation,
the produce, yeah, tomatoes, beets. I mean, literally, I grew beets from the seeds to the little seedling.
She's excited.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Right. Really, to start something from seed, to watch it, grow a little bit, and then to put it in the ground, and then to pull it out, and then to eat it, and then for it to taste and consume. Like it's a totally different experience.
Right.
It really is.
Right. I hate tomatoes, but I will absolutely enjoy the heirloom potatoes.
Tomatoes, yeah, heirloom, yeah.
They are amazing.
Man, we grew so many tomatoes. We grew tomatoes, like strawberries, squash, mint, which was just sort of wild, kale, collards, chard.
So how was she making a profit off of the farm?
She has a CSA.
What is that?
A CSA is a community supported agricultural organization.
Okay.
So basically it's like you join the farm. So you can become a member of the farm. You pay a certain amount weekly or monthly, and you get a portion of what's grown. You get a share.
That's cool. And she made a good living doing that?
Yeah, she was doing okay. She was, when COVID hit, she started struggling because her children, which would normally go to school, were home, and then sort of trying to manage the farm and manage the children's school. Like all of that was new for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a challenge, but I mean, she was, as far as I could tell, this was her first year where she was going in the black. So she was making money this year.
Cool. So let's shift gears into we talked about money a little bit, like towards the end of what you were saying. Let's talk about the economy, both personal and then from a macro standpoint, like at the state level and even at the federal level. I want to know about your money situation.
My money situation?
You know what? I've known you for how many years now? And I
well,
tease
so
you a lot,
four, maybe 3, 4.
because I half the time I don't know what the fuck you're doing to make a living, but you always seem to be
Breathe to
doing
make a
your
living.
thing. I want in on the drug deals, ma'am.
First of all, I breathe for a living, sir.
So did the coronavirus, did the COVID-19 affect your money at all?
Yeah, I mean, no. Okay, let me just say, I don't think Corona affected my circumstance financially. No, because a lot of things that I do were from my real estate business, I had referrals out, and as you know, real estate didn't really slow down.
Right.
So
Right.
I didn't
it's
have
booming and everything is crazy expensive.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue. I was just still referring business out.
Right.
And then I had, that sort of kind of coming in, and then I have things going on. So
see, this is what I'm talking about. She's so secretive. I'm gonna find out what she does.
No.
It hit me.
Some of my stuff is consultant style work. Right. Like sometimes it depends on who I'm working with and what they can afford at the time, depending on what they need me to bring to the table. So some of my stuff is it's like I don't have a consulting business, but sometimes some of what I do has a lot to do with like consulting. It's my network. So I have a lot of things that I'm really good at. And so I contribute, like I can support your business in that way.
Right.
Remember I called you. I was like, I'm just kind of doing some volunteer stuff. Like sometimes I'll just volunteer, put myself out there. And if there's a need that arises, then we'll go from there. But I mean, I'm, shamelessly plugging. I definitely
look, this is her set.
Things.
She has a shirt and
yeah.
This could be our friction juice, but yeah, this isn't because she has ginger in it.
It has ginger in it, so technically that is the friction juice. It's
this is
normally Love Juice would
trademarked juice that we have on set all the time. My personal situation, I own a gym in Norfolk, Virginia, and I had to close the doors. I did it just for a month, but even after that, for like 3 or 4 months, I was still traveling around, but I was sneaking people in the gym at the same time. But I wasn't making the money pre-COVID. But as the world started opening back up, they had like a percentage, like you could have like 20 people or 30 people or 50% capacity. What really helped my gym, and I'm talking about a huge spike in like my enrollment, even more so than before COVID, when the governor said that you could only have 10 or 20 people in any public space, and gyms weren't included, but private studios were. Huge influx in business, like legit, like almost to the point where I couldn't handle it. And I've never been in a situation like that because, we are workout fanatics and we're going to get our fix regardless. Yeah. So there were people who had never had personal training before that were calling me like, look, I need to be in a gym. I really don't want a personal trainer, but because I have to be fit, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
My military enrollment went through the roof because their job, a lot of times, you have to be in shape. And most of them were like, look, we still got testing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the gym is weird. The gyms on the bases were closed, but I was open.
Yeah.
And so I got a huge influx of patronage that way. And it was dope. And on top of that, I got stimulus money. Like nice. For real stimulus money.
Right.
So like the first time I got from the EIDL, I got 30 grand on top of my new wages.
30 grand?
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, I ain't gonna we gonna get into how much I just got.
Damn.
Yeah, I got 30 grand from the EIDL and I didn't use any of that money. Like that money is still sitting in my bank account.
Let me borrow a couple.
Right. And so even with that, like I didn't want to do it because I was nervous. I have a few mentors and they was just like, listen, do you understand how important taking this money is? And I'm small time. A lot of my mentors, they're $1 million guys, 3 and 4 and 5 businesses. They were like, The reason why I have the things that I have at the scale that I have is because I was loaned that money from the government.
Yeah.
Or I was loaned that money from a private lender.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good for using other people's money.
Exactly. And he was just like, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you being your age and you not having a solid business credit line, you won't be able to qualify for those loans. So you better take that money while you
Absolutely.
can. And so that's what I did.
What about mask? Like when you did start, like what was your stance on the whole mask thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't wear a mask, and we did the 6 feet thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then also when I first opened up, I didn't have a lot of people in the gym, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if I had somebody who was like adamant about me wearing a mask, I would, because I have to run a business. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want people to be uncomfortable.
I guess you could call me one of them anti-maskers.
We'll get into that too.
Okay, because I was
right.
was not feeling.
So yeah, like it was amazing.
That's good.
Like it was amazing, and like the apprehension came when I saw so many small gyms failing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm online.
So that's interesting because like I do know another gym owner who had the same thing. He had like a huge, he's a smaller studio than yours, but he was like, yo, I've never had this many people at one time sign up. Like he was like, I haven't even had a chance to work out myself.
Right.
Because I've been taking on so many clients.
For sure.
That's crazy.
I mean,
it was either like, really bad or really good for people.
For sure.
That's crazy.
For sure. And it was definitely good. Definitely. While we're talking about our personal business, let's talk about other people's business. And I'm not big on getting in other people's business, but you can't not see it. Everybody's hiring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And nobody is trying to get no job.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean,
because I feel strongly about a few things. But I'll let you cook.
I mean, I'm an advocate for starting your own shit and doing your own shit anyway, personally. So, I mean, I'm not real big on, like, I'll tell you quick, I don't really do jobs, but I'll work. You know what I'm saying? I'll work. But as far as taking on a job, like, I don't blame people if they're benefiting from unemployment more so than they would from going and working from for somebody. Now, if I was to come work for you, that would look different for me because I feel like I'm supporting you, and it's not about the money per se. And that would be the only way I would take a job is if I was like working with someone who was like, oh, okay, like I'm taking this job, you're going to compensate me for my time in that sense. But as far as like taking a corporate job, I'm not really a corporate job person anyway because I'm just a rebel. So first of all, I'm not going to want to show up all the time at the same time all the time. Personally, that's just me. But as far as like people hiring, I think it's kind of sad that they can't get the workers that they need.
I don't think
that's going to last long. I think eventually the cycle is going to kind of like it's going to come right back around, and the people who are not built for that life of being out here and just doing their own thing, they're going to be looking for jobs again. And I think it might be too late at that point.
Right. So I feel a lot differently about it. I'm big on people working for a living wage.
Okay.
And as inflation goes through the roof, housing, milk, all of the necessary things you need to live, the dollar is devaluing. And so like the $15 that we were making 20 years ago doesn't hit like the $15
Sure,
now.
it doesn't.
And so what's happening is these, not even just corporate, but small business owners, the government is actually butting in and paying people closer to a living wage. And I don't feel bad. And I'll say this on air because I have a lot of small business owner friends who are upset because people don't want to come work for them. And I tell them all the time, pay the people more, especially if you have black people. Like, and that just goes.
What do you think the minimum wage should be right now?
In Virginia, I think the minimum wage should be $17.50.
Where'd you come up with that number?
Just sounds good.
Okay.
It sounds good.
Okay.
I mean, why not though? Like, so if rent, the average for a decent home is $1,000, what is $17.50?
That's not that decent, but okay.
But you can. How much is $17.50?
I don't know.
A week?
I don't know.
It got to be what? At least $800?
$800? You talking about net or gross?
For 40
hours?
Kadeem, can okay, thank you, sir. Can you
know.
Can you tell me what $700?
That's nothing. That's nothing. I'm not trying to say it's nothing because it's something. If somebody, if you only got 100, 700 is a lot.
But $700 a week.
That's nothing. That's what, 28. That's $2,800 a month. That's nothing.
If you're single with no kids, you can do all right.
Maybe.
No, I mean, okay. So if rent is $1,000, your car let's
payment.
just say
you have a car payment. Say you have car insurance.
Well, you're not driving nothing.
Gotta eat.
Let's just say $250, and your insurance.
Okay.
I mean, $250 would be a Honda.
Right. Yes, it's nothing. It's nothing. And you wonder why, unfortunately for the smaller businesses, they're not trying $12 an hour, $10 an hour, $8 an hour.
Yeah,
I know people are still trying to pay people $8 an hour.
So what these small businesses need to do is up their prices. And
can they afford it though? That's the thing.
I mean, why not up their prices?
Chipotle is actually adding 4% to everything on their menu to give people $15 an hour.
See, I love the idea of it. Oh, okay, so Kadeem just said that Chipotle is actually adding 4% to their menu so they can pay their employees $15 an hour.
I mean, they should.
I like the idea of it.
No, I like that idea too. I'm just not going to work for $15 an hour.
I mean, you wouldn't, but everybody doesn't have the luxury of...
I agree. What was that? The luxury of what?
I'm still trying to figure out what you do for a living. And when I find out, I'm telling everybody. I'm telling everybody. Do you hear me? Absolutely. So yeah, like the economy is weird right now. Cryptocurrency is going up and down and up and down and up and down. You have moguls like Elon Musk saying things that kind of just does stuff to the stock market and cryptocurrency. I'm not into investing at all into the stock market.
At all?
I'm a collectibles guy.
Okay, well, that's investing.
Yeah, as you know, I'm into comic books.
Yeah.
And my collectibles have gone through the roof, through the roof. From my original art, from comic books to the actual comic books. I mean, 200 and 300 and 400%. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. Like nobody has.
Okay.
And I'm really proud of that too. Like I'm fortunate through this pandemic. I can outwardly say that most people, and I empathize with those people. I hear the horror stories and my heart goes out to them. But like, I did really, really, really well through the pandemic. To the point where I was helping people where I could, because I knew, I consciously knew, I'm doing really good right now. Where can I help?
Yeah.
Can I volunteer my time?
Yeah.
Do you need some bread for something? You know what I'm saying? Like, I struggled knowing that I was doing better when most people were struggling more. So I just felt devoted to,
do you think it was like most people, or do you think it was like a split? Because honestly, as 50% of the people that I know, it was like either it was like a really good. The people that I felt complained the most were the people that had to deal with the homeschooling stuff.
Right. So I was going to bring that up. Go ahead.
Right. But the people, honestly, in general, a lot of people were like, this was the best thing that ever happened to me. This pandemic was, besides, obviously people passing away and losing family members and not necessarily being able to be with them when they pass and things like that. Like, I get all that. But most of the people that I interacted with, they were like, this was the most peaceful time for me. I got a chance to just kind of reflect and reset and just be with myself. And
your family too, because a lot of times everybody was working from home. If you weren't essential, you was working from home. So that family time, you can spend it right there. And so to piggyback off of what you were saying, I don't think the real struggle was in so much the finances, because the government was intervening and, businesses were actually like doing what they could as well to help people stay afloat. But like the homeschooling was a huge obstacle for people.
It was huge.
Like a huge obstacle. Like you staying home, and you have to make sure that your kids and like kids are kids. You cannot sit a 7-year-old in front of a computer for 6 hours
Well, it
and
wasn't.
expect them.
That's not homeschooling too. So it was
Well,
like
remote learning.
Yeah,
Let's call it
right.
Right. I'm
Because
sorry.
it's different. Because the people that were homeschooling
Right.
were like, well, shit, this what we've been about this life.
Right,
But
for
the people
sure.
that had to transition to the remote learning, that was
Right.
whoo.
Right.
Woo, like parents on camera with their clothes.
Man, you know that joint went viral
Parents smoking, like
for sure.
oh gosh, like yeah, no. So like I said, the lady that I worked with on the farm, she had a very hard time. She had because being on a farm, you had to do that full time. So if the kids weren't out there with us, it was like they were tugging and pulling at her to try to like figure out, okay, how to log
Was she
in.
single?
Yeah.
Okay.
How to log in and what classes and just like trying to keep up with all of that. I was like, dear, I'm so glad that I don't have that issue. I didn't. And even though I do still have someone who at the time Destin was doing a little bit of remote learning. His dad and I just decided like, you know what, forget that. Because he was only going to school for basketball. He only wanted to go to this particular school because they kind of recruited him to play basketball.
Right.
But we were just like, nah, we just gonna homeschool. And they allowed that option for him to do homeschooling and to still be able to participate in the sports. So we were like, that'll work. They gave you the option to either, do remote learning or do homeschooling, but he could still, I mean, it's Destin. So, they made they made the exception for all the athletes.
The less weird kid because he's been socialized.
Whatever. All of my children have been socialized, sir.
Anywho.
Yeah. So what about your clients? Like as far as homeschooling, do you feel like that affected their ability to come for training?
I was more so concerned with the kids.
Oh.
Like, because, I train a lot of student athletes and they loved it. It was just really weird because, I come from, a traditional school setting. And like, if you weren't in school and you were at home, you could play video games, but that only would last for so long because you wanted to be around your friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I always would ask him like, bro, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm chilling. I'm like, but what about your friends? What about the chicks?
Oh, this
You know what I'm
generation
saying?
is
Like,
different. They don't mind being alone.
That's weirdo business.
No, it is, but that's the reality. It was not a thing for them because everything that they do is online anyway.
Right.
So it was like, okay.
And I remember times, when we played video games and stuff like that, online came like
Much
as
later.
I got
Was
into
it
college.
Xbox?
Yeah, but we all would pile up in a room. But even that was very different because you can be on top of somebody like talking shit to them, pointing in their face like, nigga, you weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get any of that.
No.
So,
No.
yeah, man.
I mean, for the more social kids, it was a struggle because I know, like, on the farm, one of the kids, she struggled. She wanted to have her friends come over. She wanted to go over to her friends, and it was like, nah, we can't do it. I left every weekend. I was hiking every weekend. I mean, you was watching me. I went hiking practically every weekend. I just loved it. So it was no different for me. The only thing that was different for me was that I wasn't coming home. I didn't come home from March until June. So I didn't come home and I could, I was only 4 hours away. So that was like the only thing how it affected me personally.
So are you saying that now that we are in post-COVID, things are still going to move in the same knowing? Because, I mean, nothing changed for you, but like having access to people did change for you. It changed for everybody. So how will that play into your life like post-COVID? Because you like to party and have a good time and don't come.
Oh, yes. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up.
Right.
You know what? I definitely did miss being able to go to a good, like little reggae joint, little hole in the wall. So I was really concerned. This was the thing I was concerned about. I was concerned about the Caribbean community because, like,
very hands-on,
very
right,
wine up on a ting.
Right.
So yeah, I was like, damn, like, how are we gonna get back to this? Because like, there is not
for sure
touching each other
for sure
when you know what I'm saying, and it's like that's our thing. But I remember the first thing I went to, it was like a wine festival or event. Man, you would have thought I had lost my mind. Like I was so happy and we still were like separate.
Right, but just the energy to be around.
I did.
For sure.
It was like, dang, I miss this. Just being around the people and the music. That was hard. And we tried to do that little online thing. Like I did like online karaoke and that is not the same.
So these clubs were doing that?
They were doing stuff online. In fact, I was a little disappointed because I did have a plan for my daughter's birthday to take her to Carnival, which was in Trinidad. So like that was a thing we were planning, and that was like the worst.
I have a teammate there, and he's been dying to get me over there. And when I tell you, I go online and good God Almighty, somebody help me.
You want to go to Carnival?
I'm going.
Okay, when?
Stop! You get me in trouble out here.
Oh, okay.
Cut it out, man.
Okay.
Yeah, because Teresa
we'll talk
gonna want
off
to come
camera,
with me.
I guess.
Right. So some things that I'm looking forward to post COVID, as you know, Comic Cons, man.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm due for Blurred Con next month. And I really miss that. I'm a super introvert, believe it or not. I hate going out. I hate being around people. But it's something about that Comic-Con scene. I get to dress up.
I'm excited. I would love to go to one of those with you, honestly.
Yeah,
we've been talking. Me and Kareem talked about it several times. Like I just want to. I love seeing people. He wants to go. Right. I want to see. I just love seeing people dress up. Right. And go hard, especially when when they really get into it and they really like embody their character and they're like stay in character. That's dope. Yeah, for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. But as far as anything else, people-y, I'm good. Like I'm literally I'm good. Yeah. I'm not like big on travel. Traveling is to get to a comic convention. Yeah, no, travel is huge for me. That's gonna be probably the thing that's gonna be the biggest issue for me because I don't plan to vaccinate. Right. But if I can't wait till they have that mandate. If I'm required to vaccinate in order to travel outside of this country. Anybody with a hookup, holla at your girl. So listen, please. No, I'm not going to incriminate my mom. Yeah, I will. So listen. So my mom she was in charge of the vaccinations at a local church, and she had, because she's a nurse, registered. Oh, so she has the cards. And I tried a few times. I was like, Mom, I will give you $100, $200, $300, whatever you want. Right, whatever you want. Just give me a card so please, I can. She was like, "You're not gonna let me use." I said, "It's one card. You're bugging." Okay, but so think about it like this, right? Imagine if she does give you this card. So someone gave me this scenario and I was like, damn, that's true. So you thought about it too? I did. No, because somebody called me and was like, yo, you need that card? I'm like, hell yeah, I need that card. Like, I'm not. And you didn't take it? Well, we haven't gotten it yet. Okay. So you. Listen, I am not going to be able to stay in this country and I'm really not big on vaccinations. So we're going to get into that. That's our next topic. Oh so don't dive too much into that. But here's the thing, right? Like imagine someone does give you a card, right? And then it gets found out that your card is fake and say somehow they figure out a way to connect other deaths to you, quote unquote COVID deaths, because you went somewhere and you spread and blah blah blah. So like I'm thinking like it could be because there is a registry online, isn't it? Well, like the CDC. I don't know. It could be an issue. Mr. Cameraman, you're knowledgeable on frivolous knowledge. Do you know if there's like a registry or something like that for vaccinations? It's a HIPAA violation. To make them do a vaccination. Right. Okay. But they didn't say you still have to take even people that are vaccinated, if they go out of the country when they come back, they're still making them get tested. Right. So you can still get COVID. So I mean, but they're not technically restricting anyone from traveling without vaccinations yet. So, but again, my question is, do you know if there's like an online there isn't no registry. So all it is a card. Yes. Blood. What you trying to do? Yo, you're bugging. You know we have a whole. They will smear our whole podcast. So let's get into that. Vaccinations. This is definitely going to rub some people the wrong way. I know that for a fact. I plan on getting my vaccination for one reason and one reason only, and I kind of hit on that. The Comic Cons. Right. I go to every Comic Con from East Coast to West Coast, the South Side to the North, Detroit, and everywhere in between.
they're making it like a thing where you have to present your vaccination card. So I'm gonna have to go through with it because I'm not going to Comic Cons. I can't do it because that's like my thing.
I'm not going to do it now. I'm not in a rush to get out of this country right now. Like I'm in the process of developing my nutrition coaching stuff, and as you know, I'm going to be at the gym doing some circuit training things, and I'm also going to be launching Fit and Juicy, which is tied into my nutrition coaching. I'm not in a rush. I definitely do not want to do no vaccinations, but if it becomes a requirement to leave this country at some point, I'm gonna have to, because
so that's the only stipulation.
That's the only stipulation, like that it is required that I have it to leave this country.
So would you consider yourself an anti-vaxxer?
Yeah, I guess if that's even a thing, I'm definitely I didn't vaccinate my children.
Right.
I didn't give them none of nothing. So no. I was always using that religious exemption form.
Mm-hmm. So with the religious exemption, what is that? Like, because I didn't even know. Like,
no, because I just watched. I posted it the other day, but the dude was talking about vaccinations and how they, my daughter got her vaccinations, and I was really in my mind against it.
Yeah.
I found out there's an exemption form.
There is a religious exemption form.
People that be like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. You just get it's something.
You're not vaccinated.
You can just
cameraman?
print it right off of the internet.
Yeah, are you? Okay.
You could just print it right off the internet. So
Fake. I'm real. I'm getting vaccinated.
Now I'm fake.
so
I
you,
will go out the country and still not get vaccinated.
But if it's a mandate, you're not going.
The fake card, like all the other niggas in New York got the fake card, but they behave.
yo,
Right.
holla at me after the show, okay?
Right.
So yeah, but anyway, listen. Yeah, no, I would not know. So it's just a form. It's a PDF form. You just print it from the computer. That's
Right.
it. So big deal. You Google it, religious exemption, state of Virginia, and that's it. And you just sign it.
California, one state that doesn't have, you have to get vaccinated in California.
For sure.
That's crazy.
Because it's so densely populated and they want everybody to.
Yeah.
So good.
So yeah, no, I'm definitely anti-vaccination, but if I have to, but I mean, if there's a hookup, I ain't gonna front. I'm doing the hookup, so it is what it is.
I mean, I definitely try to put pressure on my mom to give me a card, and she was not having it. Like,
dang,
it's like, Mom, just
you had it. It was
one
right
off the top.
there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just scribble my name on the joint.
Yeah,
Right. And I told her, I was like, look, I'll give you good money for it. Like,
Right.
I'm that convicted. Like, and she won't having it. So I'm actually going to get my first one next week.
Oh God,
Why are y'all mad at me?
ain't nobody
for?
mad at you?
Right. I mean,
Have fun.
if I die or some shit, just make sure Kadeem can take my spot.
He can take over.
All right. It's all good. Yeah. So
I think Will. You think Will is gonna vaccinate?
Yes.
he's in the military. Of course.
So do they have to?
I'm not sure, but I mean, there's a mentality that comes along with being in the military.
You don't.
I mean, you don't have to, but I'm saying
But do
the
you think they
mentality.
will?
Most people
Okay, so-
are in the military. They're not.
They're on the base, they have to keep track. They like trying to give people stuff to go get vaccinated. They're not doing it.
Oh,
wow.
yeah, they are giving away stuff.
Yeah, but I know for a fact that William
Here's-
and Watu, both of them, they are.
Oh yeah, because like after the last show, they were like, I was a super spreader at the table.
For sure. He was like, "Oh Lord, there's a super
There's
spreader
a super
in
spreader
here."
at the table. Yeah, whatever.
Yep. Yeah. So, do you got any big plans post COVID? Career plans.
Yeah. So right now, I've been really okay. So obviously, I started personal training with you. You ain't gonna do no. Can you give me some sounds or something?
I got you.
Cue up the sounds.
Sure.
Yeah. And so I kind of stuck with it, and I've been on this journey, and I've always been big on the food, the nutrition aspect of it. The working out part has gotten to the point where I do feel off when I don't work out. I feel like it definitely has been huge for like mental health stability for me as far as like working out in general. But the nutrition coaching aspect has been something that has really pulled me in. So my vision board for this year that I did at the top of the year is heavily influenced by the nutrition coaching. The fit and juicy, the juicy part came into play because about 8 years ago, I actually came back to the area and helped someone open up a juice bar. And they were in the process of establishing more of a platform online for the juice business. And I'm looking at it as a way to supplement, so to bridge the gap. So if you're looking at nutrition coaching, then ultimately you can start with a cleanse. I do 1 day, 3 day, 5 day cleanse. I don't suggest anything after 5 days because I think you still need nutritionally dense food. But I think a cleanse is a good way to start. So for me, post-COVID has been focused on my mental health and my physical health and how that can affect the businesses that I want to invest in right now.
The business that I've been trying to get you into for a few years.
You haven't been like, okay.
Don't show out.
I'm not trying to show out. You haven't been, okay. Whatever. I'm gonna let you go ahead.
How long have I been trying to help you push your fitness career? Has it been more than 2 or 3 years?
It's been at least a year. At least I'll give you a year.
Really
I'll give you
out.
no. Okay, Flood. I'll give you a year. I'll give you a year and a half just because you're pouting over there like a big baby about how much of an influence you have been. Yes. What you know, my biggest thing is the personal training. I don't have as much of a desire to do the personal training. But when I did work with clients, I did feel like I remember reaching out to you and letting you know, like, man, this does feel good. And there is some inspiration when I'm seeing them feel good about the changes that they're making. So like, yes, but it's nutrition coaching that's really drawn me in.
But what I'm saying is people fuck with you. Obviously you like to work out. Not only like, and you like to work out so much that you like to, I don't even post myself working out. And people gravitate towards that. You have something to offer. And this is the same conversation that I had with you years ago. And now we're here again.
Okay. And we're here. And I'm coming to your gym and you're going to help me out. So whatever. Do what you want, a cookie? Fuck?
Two.
Whatever.
Two of them.
Yes.
Oatmeal raisin and I'll take 2 oatmeal raisins.
Okay, whatever.
So for me, I want to grow this podcast, man.
Okay, I'm with you.
I really,
I'm with you on that.
This is something that people have been telling me that I needed to do for about a year or two now. Being here prior to me starting here kind of helped me and the good brother Kadeem and Just a Media Company.
Just another media company. Yes,
I said that.
You said just a media company, sir. We can roll the tape back. No.
I'm sorry, just another media company.
Yeah, this has actually been really fun.
Right.
I was a little bit.
Last show, say it.
Yes, I was disappointed in my behavior last show, but I will say this.
I told you not to bring it up.
Okay, but I did. Only because I feel like, I told you what I felt. What I said, I meant. How I felt, I meant it. I'm a very passionate person. When we're just talking, like that's what happens to me. But I do realize that, we are conducting an event. We're conducting a show. So I have to be mindful of that. So yeah, I'll be more mindful. But I'm fucking rude. I'm rude. And sometimes it's real. No, I am. Like I am.
Of you.
No, I'm no problem. I have no problem with taking accountability for my behavior. Okay. I definitely could have done a better job, especially with Dr. Tanya. I definitely could have done a better job, but
for sure,
no doubt.
Aside from the podcast, recently I've gotten in real estate.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yes.
Developing more skills. Like, seems like because the house is so dilapidated, you know what I mean? I have to learn how to do new things. And so like the small construction stuff, like I have all types of tools now and just learning more about, rehabbing homes and, short term trying to acquire another piece of property, what I'm saying, before the fall time, like as early as that. You know what I mean? That would be a short term goal for me. And then just making sure that I keep the momentum, this post-COVID money for my gym momentum.
Yeah, now I know what you got. What you working with?
Cut it out, man. I'm poor. Didn't I text your friend? I ain't got no money. Right, for sure. This was productive though.
Yeah, I know. I miss William. I miss you, William. We didn't get to dress alike. He was like really fronting on me. I almost wore the yellow shirt too, and it would have been perfect.
I just knew that you were gonna wear some African shit for real.
I mean, I got plenty of it
But
too.
you're not festive, are you?
It's not about not being festive. It's I just don't like fronting. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't buy me. Here's the thing. Don't buy me nothing for Mother's Day. Don't buy me nothing for Valentine's Day. I don't care about none of that shit.
I feel you.
I really don't get into that. I prefer, like, I would rock that shit on a regular day. Like, don't wait till it's motherfucking Juneteenth to start rocking all your cowrie shells and all your
this is
whatever.
me anyway.
I know this is you, but that is something that rubs me the wrong way.
Hey.
It does. When you break out your head wraps and your fucking dashikis.
Right. Can black people culturally appropriate things?
Hell yes.
You think so?
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Really?
Yes, because if you front and you front. If you front and you front. If you really not about that life, if that's really not what you're into,
for sure.
don't fake it.
But
for the gram.
Again, I'll backtrack. I'm into awareness. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not very festive either. But like something like that's you?
You.
Let me see.
So cute.
Look at him.
Stop playing.
I see you. I see you with the kente cloth. Look, I see you with the kente
that's
cloth.
what I'm saying. If I break out some of my old pictures and you see, like, my kids have had locks for years. You know what I'm saying?
For
like,
sure.
this was our real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were really about that life. Like, I was really teaching my children about African cultural studies, the diaspora, all of that. And even to this day, they still have a close connection with their godmothers who teach them about the Yoruba and the Ifa and the things of that nature. Like, this is our real life. I don't have to walk around and
But my question to you is, what's wrong with taking a day? Because one, this is it's a brand new holiday.
Okay.
Like brand new. Why can't, no, I mean, federally it's recognized. Like but you should though, because now people are going to be able to put this on front. Like, why do we have today off?
Okay.
And that will open up a discussion for children
I
to be
hear
like,
you.
look, this is why we have the day off. Okay. And, I'm big on that.
That's fine. I'm talking about the people who only do it during that time. That's my thing. Like, if you're only talking about African American studies or history of African Americans during Black History Month, get out my face. You know what I'm saying? Don't come for me and going hard during the month of February and then you're not like that any other time. I don't hear you really going hard about it. I don't hear you talking about it. You talking about some other shit. Like, be consistent. It doesn't have to be in my face all the time, but I'm just like big on just being consistent. You're consistent. So I fuck with you just on the strength of fucking with you because I like, poking at you, but you're consistent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I call you angry black man as a compliment. It's not really an insult, even though I think that it could come across as an insult, but to me, it's a compliment.
Oh, for sure.
For you.
Oh, you already know
what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of community and we're going to wrap it up, I got to break a bill for you.
Okay. Oh, God. I know what it is.
I got to break a bill for you, baby.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. So it's two parts. Interracial relationships. Break or build the black community.
Break.
Now, when I say interracial relationships, I'm not talking about minority. I'm talking about minority white person.
Okay.
So is there a difference? Do you think that?
Yes, there's a difference.
Okay, cool. Because
There
I
is
was
a
going to
difference.
fight you.
No, there's a difference.
Okay, cool. So would you be okay with a black person and say, how obtuse can I be? Let's even say like a Japanese person.
Japanese with what? Black?
Yeah. Break or build.
Confusing.
So ask me the same question.
Break or build. Interracial. Damn, this is a hard one. It's a good one.
Are we being specific or just the idea?
Specific.
build?
Okay. Let me find
Now,
out.
can we be specific? Because I got
Be specific,
nuances
Negro.
all in there.
Go ahead. You have to. In a situation like this, you have to be specific. I do know that I have, a very white woman friend, very close friend of my family who has a black. No. Not even her. No.
Let me find out you got all these white friends.
Stop it. Whatever. She has a black son and he's very much for his people. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that she's promoted all her life to him. She's very big on making sure there's a distinguished understanding as far as who he is as a black man, but there's confusion.
So specifically, I think that a black person dating, marrying, or loving a white person is definitely a break. But all other minorities, literally every other minority group in America, is a build.
Okay. And you say it's a build because? Well, maybe we should talk about it later. Because I think we need to have Will.
Oh, for sure, we got to have.
I think we need to go ahead and, like you said, wrap this thing up and have Brother Will, Brother Will, to come in on this conversation. I'm sure he want to tap in
for sure
on this one. But yeah. So I definitely think we should wrap it up because for sure Will is gonna want to be in on this conversation. But listen, since we're gonna go ahead and close out, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Hopefully you guys enjoyed what we had to offer this lovely day on the Friction Podcast. We definitely missed our co-host. We are excited to have him back next week. Flood, what's good for you next week? Nothing? All right. Okay. Bye.